In today's episode, we're going to discuss having medical health care insurance, right? And what that looks like versus not having insurance and what other avenues we have to take or forced to take in order to get the health care that we need. And we have a special guest here today. We have Dr. Aretha Nesbitt with us, and she hails from Goose Creek, South Carolina. Dr. Nesbitt, you can tell us the importance of having health care insurance.
Thank you again for having me. I really appreciate being on the podcast, providing information to your viewers. As we get into our discussion this morning regarding healthcare, healthcare is fundamental for everyone, right? We all need some type of medical health care to cover us in the need or in the instance that we may need to see a provider in case we're hospitalized, even insurance coverage for dental and vision, but we all need some type of medical coverage.
Yes. And that is so true. Just like you said, and I will say that one of the things that I've noticed or just heard various stories from different people that because they don't have insurance or having lack of or inadequate insurance, they end up not even going to get health care. And untreated symptoms causes bigger problems. So it is very important that we have health care insurance to cover medical procedures, just regular yearly exams, checkups, vision, and dental as well. In your experience, when people have insurance, when people don't have insurance, what have you seen? What extremes have you seen them have to go to in order to get health care?
The first thing that I would say, not having insurance, again, a lot of times individuals will use the emergency room for their medical care, and that's not where you should be going for your medical care. It's for emergencies only. And so the emergency room, they're only going to triage you and then they're going to send you home. But when we
Right.
look at and we talk about not having that insurance, what happens? A lot of times individuals are still suffering. They're still in pain. Not having insurance could cause premature loss of life. That's
Right.
something that we don't want because, again, it's preventable, right? Even if it's the
Hmm.
bare minimum, we all need some type of insurance. And as we look at our society today, I believe we have a responsibility to make sure those who are uninsured that they have some type of insurance.
And that's very key. And you're right. Just to level set everybody here, the insurance, the emergency room is for life, limb, and eyesight. They're there to save your life, save a limb, and save your eyesight. Anything outside of that, you should schedule to see your primary care. And that is one extreme that people go through. They use the emergency room as their primary care provider, which isn't really good in that regard. And also having vision insurance and also dental insurance so that you can get those regular checkups and cleanings for your teeth and of that nature. So I've seen, let's talk about this for a moment. When people don't have either healthcare insurance and basically planning for medical emergencies, people sometimes find their safe self where they have to just borrow money, pick up the phone and borrow money from friends. There are people that even had to take out a second mortgage on their home and just various things just so they can get the medical care they need to save their life and not in an emergency, just long-term care. Can you speak to that?
Yes. And another option, some individuals will start a GoFundMe, right?
Hmm.
For their
Hmm.
medical care. And while that is a good resource to obtain funds, again, adequately not planning for medical care when medical care or medical insurance can be affordable, right? I think that when we look at our GoFundMe accounts, I think it's a good opportunity. Yes,
Yeah.
I do. And I say that because we have individuals, for example, so we may have an individual who may need a kidney transplant, and that
Okay.
individual has insurance, right? But even
Mhm.
with that insurance, when you look at the cost of prescriptions,
Mhm.
maybe they've maxed out their plan, right? And
Mhm.
so with that, those payouts and
Right.
the payouts from the insurance company may not then cover everything. Or when you look at the deductible or look at their
Right.
co-insurance, their copay, they may not have the funds to do that. So I believe that's when the GoFundMe should kick in, right? That
Right.
you can create a GoFundMe to help with those additional expenses. A GoFundMe can also be utilized for medical care when you have
Mhm.
a child, right? If there's some
Mhm.
type of situation where your child may need to be in the hospital for a very long time. And again, we
Right.
look at co-pays, co-insurance, deductibles, and the fact that the family member may not be able to stay in the room with the child. They may have
Right.
to get in a hotel or something like that. So I do believe that a GoFundMe is beneficial, but do we want to
Right.
use that as our primary source for health insurance? No, that should not be our primary source for health insurance. And there are things like right now we have the Affordable Health Care Act, which was enacted in March of 2010. And there are opportunities for us to obtain affordable health care. What I've
Mhm.
noticed and working in various physician offices and working with various individuals is that when we look at our benefits, when we go to make a decision as to what plan we
Mhm.
want, individuals just do not want to pay the expense of having that coverage
Right.
because they say
Right.
if the insurance is $150 per pay period, I can't afford that because it doesn't fit
Mhm.
budget because I can use that money to pay a bill or buy groceries or what have you. Not looking
Right.
at the long-term benefit of having that insurance for themselves and for their family. And so I think that's
Right.
sometimes a deterrent why individuals do not um, get the insurance through their employers. But again, if they choose not to do that, we have the affordable health care.
I'm glad that we're starting the conversation with America so that they can start having those conversations and then also letting your family know what insurance carrier you use, where's the policy and who's the owner of the policy, and is there a deductible even for your prescriptions and things of that nature, just making sure that there is a system in place for your medical health care. And one of the things that I want to add to the whole GoFundMe, I believe that GoFundMe is like for things like this when there's a situation when you didn't know that you were going to need a kidney, like you had no idea, like you're a 5-year old playing in the playground. And then at the age of 45, you need a new kidney. Nobody knew that. Nobody but the Lord knew that. So GoFundMe are appropriate. There will be another podcast that we're going to do here on this channel, and we're going to discuss when GoFundMes are just, in my opinion, rigged. And that's another conversation. But for healthcare reasons, I think it's good because those are things, although you have health insurance, but you had no idea that you needed a kidney or whatever the case may be. Or even if there's a national disaster and you have to replace everything, there's a fire, then you have to replace everything. Sometimes you have to lean on a GoFundMe, even if you do have insurance for those things. Sometimes the insurance is just not enough. And that's one of the things that we'll talk about, being fully insured and having adequate insurance to um, continue your full quality of life. That's also key. As we wrap up this podcast, Dr. Nesbitt, do you have any final thoughts or any final comments for the podcast family here?
The only thing that I will end with is just the statistics. When we look at America, there's 48% of us who are uninsured. And when we talk about uninsured or inadequately insured, basically we're saying that we have that lack of insurance, right? That we don't
Right,
have
right,
enough coverage that we need in order to provide health care to us, right? That's a pretty high percentage of individuals that are uninsured. And so, again, there are resources that individuals can apply for. Again, we talk about the affordable health care. We also talk
mhm,
about Medicaid, right? There's an
right.
opportunity,
Yeah.
especially depending on your income level. You may
Mhm.
qualify for Medicaid. And sometimes I just think individuals don't do their due diligence and just research
Right.
to see what's available out there for you. So
Right.
if I
Okay.
had to leave with anything, do your research.
Do your research. Thank you. And so thank you very much. So, family, today, the bottom line that we're going to take away from this conversation is review the medical healthcare insurance that you have now. Make sure it's adequate to support your needs as far as medical care, and then have a system in place that when that runs out, what is the next step? And once you do that, what we always say here, have the conversation and then put it in writing. Until next time, peace. Thank you. Thank you for connecting with us on today's podcast. We are dedicated to helping families navigate life's most challenging moments, providing peace of mind for themselves and their loved ones. Until next time, hug yourself, love like you've never been hurt before, and straighten your crown. Peace.